look at detail and the section from lines 9 to 15. So, although it says lines 9 to 15, we're going to read from line 5, just so that we get an idea of what's happening, because in the final question, we want to have a full understanding of the text. So for question 4, we need a full understanding. Right. It had been a disappointing term at St. Oswald's. For most of the boys in 3F, creative writing was on par with country writing and food technology. Oh, he tried to engage their interest, but books just didn't seem to kindle the same enthusiasm as they had in the old days. So as you can see, lines 9 to 15, and they've written line 9 there, so you make sure that you know that's line 9. They've written it there, but you've also got it here. So let's look at this. So how does the writer use language here to convey Mr. Fisher's views on books and stories? So what you're looking for in the text is what's written about books and stories of the past, and what language does he use? Okay, so Mr. Fisher remembered a time, surely not so long ago, when books were golden. Here we go. Books were golden. So this is all Mr. Fisher's views. Books were golden. When imagination soared, when the world was filled with stories which ran like gazelles and pounced like tigers and exploded like rockets, illuminating minds and hearts. So what can we notice here straight away? We've got similes, like or as used to describe things. So we've got use of simile. That's part of the language. He's using similes to create an effect. We've got words and phrases. So what does he do? He's comparing stories, which ran like gazelles and pounced like tigers and exploded like rockets. So what does that mean? Gazelles are fast. So the stories were fast. They were fast-paced. They were interesting. They pounced like tigers. They grabbed you like a tiger would if it jumped on you. Exploded like rockets. So all this imagination. And here he's got very descriptive language. Imagination soared. He's got a diverse range of language. We can look at that. So imagination soared. Let's underline that. He had seen it happen. It had seen whole classes swept away in the fever. So that's what used to happen. You can see from this language that he has an understanding that books of the past before were amazing. They were something that brought a whole class together, swept away in a fever. So this is the effect of the books. And perhaps you could say Mr. Fisher is almost in awe, and we can tell that from the similes he used and also the comment illuminating minds and hearts. And the fact that when books were golden, he's saying when books were golden, that's when they were valuable. Because think about it, gold is valuable. It's saying that it's inferring through this imagery that it was shiny and bright and interesting and something valuable. And it illuminated hearts and minds. Okay, let's look at the next line. So he had seen it happen. He had seen whole classes swept away in the fever. In those days, there were heroes, there were dragons and dinosaurs, there were space adventurers and soldiers of fortune and giant apes. In those days, thought Mr. Fisher, we dreamed in colour. Those films were in black and white, and good always triumphed in the end. So he's reminiscing. So you can use that. The writer is using language to show that Mr. Fisher is reminiscing about this past. He's talking about his experience. They're quite personal. He's written it in a personal way. He remembers. Mr. Fisher remembers. And almost perhaps you could say that through this language, the fact that he talks about how good it was in the past, it infers that it's not the way it is in the present. And perhaps Mr. Fisher's a bit upset about that. So here you can tell them, this is what we said, this is what's said, this is what's inferred. And then we'll write that into 2 to 3 paragraphs, looking at words and phrases, language features, and techniques.